ծագում արած է Ամերիկայի Միացյալ Նահանգներում մեջ 1908 թվականին, երբ մեծ թիվով գիներ ցույցեր կգազմագերվեն փետրվարի վերջին կիրակին եւ կպահանջեն գիներու քաղաքական եւ տնտեսական իրավունքները։ Կարևոր եղած է հայ կնոջները մեր պատմության ընթացքին որպես պահապան իր ընտանեկան օջախին, շնորհիվ իր անձնազոհության եւ նվիրատվության։ Գիներու իրավունքներու պահպան ու չարագիրը եղած է վեհ արագերությամբ օժտված հայ օգնության միությունը, որ հիմնված է Ամերիկայի Միացյալ Նահանգներում Նյու Յորք քաղաքի մեջ 1 հունվար 1910 թվականին հայ Կարմիր խաչ անվան տակ, որպես ոչ կառավարական կազմակերպություն։ Հոմնա եւ անդամ է Միացյալ Ազգերու կազմակերպության։ Այսօր 27 երկրներու մեջ իր 225 մասնաճյուղերով եւ ավելի քան տասնյակ հազարավոր անդամներով անգներկայանա որպես անկախ մարդասիրական միություն, որ համաշխարհային կարողությամբ օժտված գծարայե հայ ժողովրդի ընկերային ու մշակութային զարգացման եւ կնպաստե թե հայ, թե օտար կարոտյալներու առողջապահական ու մարդկային այլազան կարիքներում։ Հոմի Տորոնտոյի Ռուբինա մասնաճյուղը շուրջ 400 անդամներու նվիրաբերումով դարիներ շարունակ աշխատած է իրականացնել հոմի նպատակները Տորոնտո հայ քաղաքի մեջ, ինչպես նաև օգնության ձեռք երկարած է հայրենիքին եւ Արցախին։ Հոմի նպատակը եղած է միշտ ծառայել հայ ժողովրդին, իր բարեսիրական, առողջապահական, գրթական եւ դաստիարակչական մարզերու մեջ։ Այսօր հոմը կշարունակե իր անվերապահ նյութական թե բարոյական աջակցությունը հասցնել Արցախեն տեղահանված մեր հայրենիքերուն միշտ հավատամի մնալով հոմի ժողովրդիս հետ ժողովրդիս համար տեսլականին։
Today's event is hosted by the Armenian Relief Society's Toronto Rubina chapter. ARS is an independent, non-governmental organization recognized by the United Nations. Incorporated in 1910, ARS has been making an impact in our society around the world for the last 114 years. ARS works to preserve the cultural identity of the Armenian nation and brings humanitarian help wherever the need arises to all communities in distress. The Armenian Relief Society is active in 225 chapters located in 27 regions. It has more than 12,000 dedicated members around the world serving the needs of the Armenian people. With its over 400 members, ARS Toronto Rubina chapter has been devoted to humanitarian and charity work for over 60 years. Its mission has been to promote education and social services to empower women and support the needs of the growing Armenian community in Toronto. It is a strong advocate of human rights, social justice, and civil society around the world. It truly carries out its motto, with the people, for the people. International Women's Day has been celebrated for over a century in order to forge a purposeful action for equality. To this day, International Women's Day is celebrated worldwide on March 8th. It continues to be a powerful platform globally that drives action for gender equality while celebrating the social, cultural, economic, and political achievements of women. The theme for International Women's Day 2024 is Inspire Inclusion. Inspiring inclusion involves actively promoting and encouraging behaviors and practices that foster a sense of belonging and empower women to reach their full potential. The success of every woman should be the inspiration to another. When we inspire others to understand and value women's inclusion, we forge a better world. There is a sense of belonging, relevance, and empowerment when women themselves are inspired to be included. Celebrate women's achievement, raise awareness about discrimination, take action to drive gender parity. International Women's Day belongs to everyone, everywhere. International Women's Day 2024's campaign theme aims to forge a more inclusive world for women. It is about women's equality in all its forms. For some, International Women's Day is about festive gatherings and parties. For others, it is about fighting and standing up for women's rights, while for some, it is about celebrating success or reinforcing key commitments. All these choices matter, and all these choices are valid. All choices of activity can contribute to and form a truly inclusive, diverse, and thriving moment of impact focused on women's advancement, focused on inspiring inclusion. For those who are active on social media, we encourage you to post pictures from today's event on your social media feeds using the hashtags #ARSIWD 2024 and #InvestInWomen. Please refer to the screens on either side of the stage for these hashtags.
Դեն ժամանակը հասավ, ուզեմ դեմ հրավիրել Արփիկ Գրիգորյանի դուստրը Սոսե, Գրիգորյան ներկայացնելու համար այսօրվա բանախոսը հեռանկարիչ Արփիկ Գրիգորյան։
And now, the moment we have all been waiting for. We would like to invite Sose Krikorian to introduce her mother and our keynote speaker, Arpi Krikorian.
Parigες orën gerviner, ես Sose Krikorianն եմ, Arpi Krikorianն աղջիկը, եւ մի քանի բառ կսեմ մորս մասին։ It is with immense pleasure and honor that I stand before you today to introduce a remarkable individual whose life work embodies joy, color, and beauty. She is not only an artist, but a passionate advocate for the cultural heritage of Armenia, bringing its richness to life through her art. But beyond her career as an artist, she is a beacon of inspiration and pride for us, her family. She is the most vibrant, intelligent, and curious person I know. She truly cares about everyone she meets. She knows the backstory of every client, every barista, and every Uber driver by the time their interaction is over. She is the go-to person for anything and everything for all of our family members. When we ask, "Mom, why does everyone have to ask you for everything?" she says, "Hokis asfalt dverev." People always ask me if she's as sweet and fun when we're alone as she is with others. And I say, of course. What you see is what you get, and we're lucky to see her beauty every single day. It is my privilege to present to you my best friend, my role model, my kunkushik mama, Arpi Krikorian.
Okay, Parigեսոր ընկերուներ, Արփիկ Գրիգորյանն եմ, ես երրորդ սերունդ հոմուհի գլամ, մեծ մամաս և մամաս ալ հոմուհի էին, մամայիս զավակները զատ ամենը մեծ հբարտությունը հոմուհի ըլլակն էր, և ինքը այցելության հանձնախումբներ, thank you, ով որ զավակ ունենա ամուսնանա նշանվի մերնի, նախ մամաս գիտեր. So, եւ Սոսենից չորրորդ սերունդ հոմուհի է։ Սևանալ։ Okay. Անգլերեն գրած եմ speeches, I hope that's okay, բայց կխառնեմ գրծածից ճա։ Okay, I am truly honored to share with you my journey so far as an illustrator, fine artist, animator, producer, publisher, and entrepreneur, while being a caring mom, a cooking wife, a loving sister, a loyal friend, and active community member. Yes, that is a lot of hats, which took many years to knit, and I feel like I'm just now scratching the surface. I simply wouldn't be who I am today if it weren't for the influence of the brave individuals who came before me, whose legacy I promise to keep alive. Before that, I want to introduce to you my family. That's my loving husband, Joe, my high school sweetheart, prom date, Netsugus, my rock, and you met my beautiful daughters. All four of my grandparents survived the Armenian genocide in 1915. They saw the unthinkable, lost everything, and started to rebuild. So this is my maternal grandparents, Araksi Ishkanyan and Hagop Kalayjan, and the second one from the left is my mom. Does she look like me? Bertri Dumbashan. This is my paternal grandparents, Rebecca Keleyan and Sakis Dumbashan, and the little baby in the front is my dad, Sakis Dumbashan. Just want to say one note. So Sakis, my grandfather, lost his first wife and 8 kids in the genocide. He then remarried to my paternal grandmother, Rebecca, had 8 more children, and only 2 survived. So they're both from Aintab and Beilan, and my maternal grandparents were from Gesaria and Bolis. Okay. So these are my parents. They started their family February 18, 1962 in Beirut, Lebanon. And I'm the baby. And I'm pretty certain I was their favorite because I had these 2. As far back as I can remember, every Sunday was spent with aunts, uncles, grandparents, neighbors, and friends, singing Armenian songs around an abundant dinner table. The language spoken was always Armenian. My heartbeat has always been in Armenian. Our life, I'm told, was great until the year I was born. Okay, wait a minute. Do you believe this? I'm like 2 years old in the middle of the ocean in a tire, nobody around, and yeah, okay, safety precautions here. All right. Our life, I'm told, was great until the year I was born. The Civil War broke out in Lebanon in 1971. And this is the very first drawing, and only one of 2 that has been preserved from my childhood. And here's an ironic little thing. It's 2 Mexican men in warm weather, and I live in California now. I think I was manifesting that. So here's the Lebanese, the Civil War. We moved to the United States, got enrolled in Armenian Mesrobian School in Los Angeles, and started a new life in an unfamiliar land. As most artists do, I did not grow up drawing. In fact, it wasn't until my high school art teacher, Mrs. Wagner, told me I had talent, and I fortunately believed her. She encouraged me so much that drawing actually took over my life. My homework time, my chores time, I drew everything I saw. This was my art table that I shared with my brother Ishkan. And I think in the back that's Nastasia Kinsky or something, the model at the time. You guys remember? This was a painting I did based on a story my father and mother would tell, that he would secretly serenade her in Lebanon when they were engaged, and she would pretend that she wasn't hearing it, but she would listen. This was done at I think I was 12 when I painted this. I drew my favorite band members, Wham and Duran Duran, in case you're interested. Pictures from magazines. And some were portraits of authors we were reading in school, such as Baruch Sevag. Some were created from imagination. Many were about leaving our old life behind and trying to navigate life as an Armenian in America. I often reminisced about school days back in Lebanon. But mostly, I drew the generations in my family. This was my grandfather. He always slept like this. And when I was drawing this, I remember he actually woke up and saw me drawing it, so he went back to sleep, pretended. So he's got the big smile on his face. This is my mom and dad, my grandparents, Araxin and Hagob, my grandparents, Sakis and Rebecca. And in 1987, I was 16 years old. My brother Ishvan is a writer, and he had started a magazine out of our garage. It was called the 80s Magazine, and it was out of the Hayarim, actually, Utsunagan. And he commissioned me to do the first cover of the magazine. And I felt like a pro, and it was the first time I got the bug of what an illustrator does. So, because Mrs. Wagner introduced me to Art Center College of Design, I started their high school program in 9th grade, and I went every Saturday religiously, and these were some paintings from there. Siamanto. So, I'm starting senior year. My very formal father sits me down, and he asks, what do you want to do after graduation? And mind you, I was an overachiever, ASB president, class salutatorian. I'm not tooting my horn, but I kind of am. I was MVP of the volleyball team, and here I was telling my dad, artist kuzemala, He pounded his fist and he said, Angareli pane asiga, gam pastapan, gam pashish, megen megen, askit okud betge alas. In those words. And he said, Bidinagal kadzes badera daches, inchpes dilla aniga chemantunish. So what was I to do? I secretly applied to Art Center's undergrad illustration degree program. On my 18th birthday, I got my acceptance letter. It was at that time the best art school in the nation, most prestigious, and I was afraid to tell my father that I was accepted. So I did. And he said, I'm not helping you. So I worked 30 hours a week opening new accounts at Wells Fargo Bank, and 40 hours a week went to school, and I did a lot of all-nighters to finish my homework and get my degree. I had an unstoppable dream to create Armenian children's books. That's why I went to Art Center. And these are from my first year at Art Center. This model, interestingly enough, is Armenian. Her name is Lola, and she modeled for artists until she died at 98 years old. Self-portrait. There's my grandmother with my mom and me. So at Art Center, I started developing my style. I wanted to get into, like I said, children's books, and I thought I was going to kill it. But I got a few jobs right out of school. You might recognize, oh, there's me graduating Art Center. I was very excited. So this was my first illustration job. Do you guys know Tali the singer? Yeah. Right? So I drew her first 2 CD covers. I got paid $200, and I got 50 cassette tapes that I could sell myself and make more money. So I was very excited. And seeing my work on mass-produced products was thrilling, and this point was another game changer for me. So I continued to try to freelance, didn't get any jobs. So I settled on just a 9 to 5, and I continued to apply to all the art studios in LA. And the art studios all rejected me. Disney, Classic Chupo, Warner Brothers, you name it, everybody said, you're not a right fit. So, but I kept at it. Meanwhile, we got married. We were broke and 23 years old. Christmas Day 1994. And there's Maggie next to Joe. We had a beautiful wedding. I was making $8 an hour, and he was unemployed. So I continued to apply, like I said, to the studios. And one of the studios called me back, Nickelodeon Animation Studio. So after 3 months of working 40 hours a week for free, I was hired as a storyboard revisionist on the animated TV series The Angry Beavers. This is some of my work for The Angry Beavers. I gave this job my all. Soon I was employed by some of the other shows too. So Cat Dog, Hey Arnold, Dora the Explorer, Oswald, and I did one background for SpongeBob SquarePants. So I loved my job, but in the year 2000, as things happen in animation, the show was canceled, and I was once again unemployed. But Sose had just turned 1 year old, and I had missed all of her firsts. My mom would call me, "Ama arachim kaila arav, ama mama asav," and I'm at work working. So I decided that I would take a break, try freelance again, now with the studios. But meanwhile, my father got prostate cancer. And my father was a real estate broker, and he said, "Akchigas arten dunnes, inti okne, mikani dun tsatsaneng, kone bezgit head dunagulas." Is anyone in real estate? Okay, can you just take care of your child doing real estate? No. But I did it for 10 years as I was raising my family. There's my sauce. And in 2003, our family was complete with our beautiful Sevan. But for 10 years, I did not touch a paintbrush. The only thing I did was finger paint with my girls. I didn't create at all. So, but I was getting the bug. You know, once you're an artist, you're creating, you can't just stop. So I reapplied to Art Center's public program, and anybody can go. It's just, at nights you can go. And I started painting again, and I fell in love with painting again. Then one day, so Sose and Sevan used to share a bedroom. And Sose decided she was old enough and she wanted her own room. Sevan was devastated, like to say the least. She would say things like, "Asi amene sev oreres megan," like literally drama, okay? So I told him, "Mivachnar, anushi kazartareng, anushi kayakchikner, barohiner, paner gitinek badere." We'll decorate our walls with really beautiful Armenian dancers and such. And I started searching on the internet. We didn't have anything. There was no happy Armenian art. So I said, "Hey, I'll draw it myself." So I drew it. I posted it on Facebook. This is the post. And at that time, everybody knew me as the realtor. So they were saying, "Who did this?" I didn't even say I drew it. I just posted it. I mean, afterwards, I actually updated the comments to say that I was the one who drew it. But people wanted it. And I realized there's a gap. There was a gap in art where our girls, our kids could not see themselves in happy artwork. It was all artwork from the genocide, or it was longing for the home, or it was Ararat. So I started drawing the characters. And as I was posting them, I named them. So this is Alik and Alim and Kohar. Shant and Ani, they're engaged. They're going to get married soon. And this is our Hasik. So I have now over 40 characters in all. And as I was posting them, people would say, "Well, I want that." And I would say, "Well, I have one. So what do? Costco Photo Center." Went to Costco, I would print canvas prints and sell them. And then they would say, "Oh my goodness, I would love that on a mug." So Costco Photo Center started making mugs. And actually, the people following me on Instagram and Facebook started telling me what they wanted, and I started creating them. So I needed a method of how to make that happen, because when you have a drawing, if you're gonna put that on a cell phone case or you're gonna put it on a pillow, it's different sizing, right? So I had to separate the background from the foreground, so I had to figure all that out of how to manufacture art on products. So this is my process. I draw in my sketchbook with pencil. I color it in with markers. This is just professional markers. I draw the background separately. That's all inspired by Armenian carpentry, needlework, khachkars. I have plenty of patterns like this. I overlay them on Photoshop, and voila! I send the files to factories, they print them on products, and I get to sell them to all of you and share the love. Now I want to tell a story about this real quick. So this is my backpack line. And I was at an event selling it, and a little girl was standing in front of the backpack like this, on the Arab backpack. She was maybe 4 years old. And her mom was with her, but she wasn't paying attention. So I turned around to her and I said, Pama Betkunis, like, are you okay? And she goes, Asi yesem. And I went, Gagartis kezi ganamani. She goes, no. Asi yesen. And I said, Ayo, Tunis, kezi amar kadzeti. She gave me the biggest hug. And I thought, okay, they're seeing themselves through my artwork. This is what it's all about. So this photo is very interesting. I was in Boston in 2017. I drew the RP character in 2015. Based on a drawing I saw of the Sayat Nova dance group, right? Not a drawing, I'm sorry, a picture of Sayat Nova dance group performing. So in 2017, did I say 2015? Yeah, I drew her in 2013, I'm sorry. In 2017, I went to Boston, and this young lady was at the event, and again, same situation, she was going, like looking on her phone, looking at the drawing, looking on her phone, and I said, what's going on? And she said, you're not gonna believe this. I danced for Sayat Nova dance group, and I took this picture, and I can't believe it's exactly your drawing. I hadn't seen her picture, she hadn't seen my drawing. So, life, art imitating life. All right, so, as people were getting interested in the products, I gathered enough courage to walk into one of our stores in Glendale called Swain's, and I had some pillows in the back of my car, and I had some tote bags, and I was only going there to buy a pen, because it's also an art store. And I thought, hey, maybe they'll sell my stuff. They're not Armenian. So I grabbed two tote bags and a pillow, and I started walking to the door. And then I stopped and I said, no, I can't do this. Turned back around, literally put them back in the car. Started back to the door. I said, no, why am I not gonna do this? Turned back around, grabbed the stuff, walked back 3 times. I'm not exaggerating. Finally, I walked in and to the cashier, I said, is your buyer here? And I'm shaking at this point. And he says, no, she's not here. And he said, what do you need? And I said, well, I make these Armenian cultural art on products, and I was wondering if you would sell them. Well, Glendale has 65,000 Armenians. So he looked at them and he said, here's her number, call her in 2 weeks, she's just on vacation. I said, okay, and he said, but call her. I said, okay. So I bought my pen and left. I emailed her a few times, she didn't respond. I emailed her very religiously, and she didn't respond, and then finally responded, and she said, why don't you send me a price list? And at that point, I called the store. I said, I need to talk to her. So I got on the phone with her, I said, I really want to show up in person, I want to show you my products. A price list is not going to do it. And she said, okay, come back in on Monday. So I gathered a few things, went to the store to the back, and I put them in front of her, and she hadn't seen them really yet. And there was another buyer there. She looked at her and she looked at me and she said, why aren't you in any other stores? Why is this the first store you've walked into? And I said, well, I'm new, in the business. It had been 2 years. And she said, there's 65,000 Armenians in Glendale. I said, yeah. And she looked at her friend and she said, we're trailblazing here. We need to get her stuff in. So she put in an order for 50 pieces. And I said, 50 pieces? That's really nothing. Like, it's not much stuff for a store. She said, we'll see how it goes. I said, okay. So I took it to Swain's. We put it all up. And I posted on Mama in Hokin. Hey guys, I'm in Swain's. So 10 a.m., I dropped them off. 3 p.m., I got a phone call. I don't know what's going on here, but we're sold out. When can you bring more stuff? I said, I'll bring it by tonight. Took them, how many pieces do you want? Let's make it 100 this time. Okay, fine. Took the 100. Next day, end of day, we're sold out. I restocked her every day for 10 days. And at that point I said, can you just buy a little bit more for me so I don't have to drive back and forth to Glendale? But it got very successful very soon, and a lot of the other stores in LA started catching on, and now they were calling me to have my products in the store. So things were going really well. Oh, before that, I think I have. Here's at Swain's, I had a calendar signing. That's my parents. And that was one of the setups. So I continued to draw what inspired me. And this was a picture of a Hantes from Shamlian Armenian School in Tahanga. On my trip to Canada in 2018, you have a lot of hours in the plane, I sketched this drawing, went back and cleaned it up. And now we have the Hantes line. So this little boy is the boy with the glasses in the drawing. He came up to me at an event and introduced himself. All right, so things are going great. Oh, this is Seda Karaoglanyan, and Seda is 84 years old now, and she sent me this picture, and I said, I'm gonna draw you, Seda, and I drew her younger self. So there is a Seda character as well. Okay, so the stores grew. I'm in 15 stores at the moment. So I needed a warehouse and fulfillment center. Started accumulating inventory. And then 2017, I went to an event where the curator of the Armenia exhibit of the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York, did any of you go? Yeah. So Dr. Helen Evans was there talking about the exhibit and her work. She happened to stay at the other curator's home. She was being hosted by Maggie, who's the curator of the Isketja Museum. Apparently Maggie got her on my website, and they were on my website all night before the next day's event. So I walk in, just really thrilled to meet this curator from the Met. And I walked into the room and she went, Art Grigorian! And I was like, what? Yeah, that's me. And she said, I've been on your website all night, and we're gonna need merchandise for the Armenia exhibit. And I was like, okay, Costco, how many could they use? But I said, okay, great. And meanwhile, I always carry merchandise in my bag, in my car, always be prepared. I ran out, grabbed some mugs, grabbed some tote bags, brought them. I said, I just want to thank you for what you're doing for our people, and here's a little gift from me. And she says, don't be insulted, I'm not going to keep them. I'm going to take it to the buyer in the merchandising department at the Met and give it to them. Hopefully, they'll buy some of your stuff for the store when the exhibit opens. So at this point, I said, okay, do you have a name of who do I call to make this happen? She said, honestly, I don't have a name. Just call and ask for the merchandising department. I said, okay. So the next day, called, the Met says, we need a name. I said, I don't have a name. I was referred by Dr. Helen Evans. Well, no, we need a name. So between October 2017 to May 25, 2018, I called and emailed every single week to the Met. I think they were so sick of me. And they're like, lady, we don't have a name. I was just hoping that somebody would feel bad for me and say, okay, here, call this person. Nobody did. But I said, but what other products are they going to sell for the Armenia exhibit? So I made it a game. I said, until they say no to me, I'm going to keep calling. So May 25, 2018, I thought, let me call Dr. Evans. She was doing a world tour at the time, so she was unavailable, but she had just returned. She picks up. Dr. Evans, nobody's responded to me about the shop. Do you have a name? And she says, yeah, somebody new just got hired. Here's their email address, email them. Well, their email is their name. So it's like, RP Krikorian at the Met. So it's their name. I called back. The same operator picks up, I have a name. Could you transfer me to this lady? So he transfers me, and I give my whole spiel of, I'm RP Krikorian, Dr. Evans asked me to call, and she says, oh, we're all good for the Armenia exhibit, we got everything we need. And I said, okay, I can hang up, or I can just be a little annoying. I said, do you have a couple minutes? And she said, why, what's going on? I said, do you mind just getting on my website real quick? Just take a look. And she says, yeah, I got a meeting coming up, but I'll take a look. So she opens it up, and I swear to God, she says, oh my God, you are the answer we've been looking for. I'm like, are you kidding me for 10 months? How much I've been calling? She said, I'm going to get you on this email list, and within 2 hours, I was in this list of 10 people, buyers from the Met, for the Armenia exhibit, and I was a vendor, I became a vendor, and I'm going, how is this all happening? And I asked, how many pieces do you think you would want? Again, I'm a one-person, company. And they said, oh, we'll just take a few. Okay, how many designs? They said, let's look at the website. They looked at the website, and then they said, we'll take a few of each. Here's 20 designs, 20 things we're gonna buy. I said, okay, I'm thinking a few of each, 2-3 pieces, right, of each. Okay, I'm looking at about 75 to 100 pieces. I can get that ready. Well, everybody at the Met went on vacation, so nobody was actually sending me a PO until my father passes away, we bury him. The very next day, I get an email that is in response to my email that says, I'm thinking 2-3 pieces of each design. And the response says, I don't know what you're talking about. We need 50 pieces of each design. So my 100-piece order went to a 1,000-piece order. I had just buried my dad. I was like, how am I going to make this happen? And then I thought to myself, I need packaging. Because I was buying from Costco. I was just giving them up to people. So for 2 weeks, worked on packaging, made stickers, made labels, did the whole thing, shipped everything to the Met. They never confirmed that they received it, but with blind faith, we all got tickets to go to New York. We went and we walked in, and that was my reaction. That led to a lot of fun commissions. This gentleman hired me to create his fiancée and him as a bride and groom. We made a wedding invitation out of it. He gave it to her saying they were invited to a wedding, and when she opened it up, she saw that it was hers. How cute was that? And then, do you guys have Henry's House of Coffee? Do you guys order Henry's? Okay, so Henry's is a business in San Francisco, 60 years in the coffee business, and they licensed my artwork. I created a bag of, there's an RP Krikorian coffee collection, and that's what it looks like. It's Armenian coffee and it's delicious. You can order online too. And there they are in the stores. So, one thing led to another fun story. I asked Nordstrom who I talked to get my products into Nordstrom. And when I went through my whole, genocide speech with the manager, he offered me a pop-up shop. We did it for one day on Mother's Day. We sold more than their shoe department that day. So they invited us back for 6 weeks pop-up shop at Nordstrom's. And this is Robert, the representative from Artsakh. He had come in for a meeting, and his wife had sent a wish list, so he had to come to Nordstrom's and buy the product before his governmental meeting. So I continued to draw what I love, and these are just sketches from my sketchbook. Watercolors. I draw in many different styles, Charles Aznavour, of course. And always remembering where I come from. Meanwhile, during the holidays, I started seeing blood in my stool, in my poop. My doctor said, this sounds like cringing, but this is something you all need to hear, and if I don't say it, then I'm doing a disservice. I told my doctor, she said it's hemorrhoids. 3 months, I kept on telling her, she said it's hemorrhoids. Finally, I said, Doc, I need to get this checked out. And it was March 2020, and the lockdown happened. So I did not get a colonoscopy for 7 months after I started seeing signs. And I woke up from the colonoscopy, and I heard, you've got cancer. It was rectal cancer. Luckily, it was stage 1, pain in my butt, literally. But it was thankfully stage 1. So I had 7 different opinions, and we decided that we would have surgery to remove it. So I was getting ready for the surgery, but at this point, my art for some reason started to change. So I think I was just trying to make sense out of the chaos that was happening, but still keeping positive. So getting ready for surgery 3 weeks before, the Lebanon blast, as everybody knows, happened. And my husband and I have a nonprofit called the Code 3 Angels. We shut down our business for 3 weeks and collected donations, sent a cargo plane full to Lebanon. I had my surgery and got out of surgery 5 days later, and the Artsakh War happened. So at this point, we got to work again. We had the local news at our place, collected again, let me go back, and we supported 700 people, 6 families, 6 villages, all the families that were displaced from Artsakh for 6 months. We collected enough money to pay for all their basic necessities. And we have a director in Armenia who passed the money out to the families personally. So we were really, really proud of that. So 2021 had its challenges: chemo, surgery, COVID. I got COVID, kidney stone surgery, radiation, 2 more rounds of COVID, and another surgery to remove the ileostomy bag. And my art started to change again. This is the year of introspection. So June 2021, I invited all my neighbors and friends to take my last chemo pill so I can ring the bell. And we had a nice big party. Oops. My brother came to visit to celebrate. And have you guys heard of IWD Bookstore in Glendale? Okay. So my brother's a writer, and he had been to IWD Bookstore before he came to my house. And he was talking to Arno, and I want you guys need to hear this. Arno told my brother that once his current inventory of Western Armenian books are sold out, he does not have new books to buy. Western Armenian books are turning into collector's items. Okay? So my brother has been translating. He's a translator, editor, writer, genocide books for 25 years, because those are the people who will pay you, the academics. You know, the universities will pay you to write a book, but nobody else pays you to write a book. So I said, we need to do something about this. And he said, what are we going to do? I said, we have to start a publishing house. He was, gente estun. Si ha gente por besem por bidane, yeah, we got to start a publishing house. And we need to pay the authors. He said, how are we going to do that? I said, well, we'll make it a nonprofit, we'll get donations. He said, okay. I said, are you in? He says, I'm in. So my education in Armenian ended with Armenian Mesrobian School, senior year. You know, I didn't continue like an Armenian education. So I'm not a master of Western Armenian. I speak it very well and I read and write. So we needed a team. How are we going to make this happen? I got on the phone, started calling everybody I know that's a master. And we started RB Publishing. And the supporters multiplied. So my board consists of Dr. Hagop Gulujan of UCLA, who is the person who authored the report for UNESCO, who put Western Armenian on the endangered language list. You guys know Western Armenian is on the endangered language list, which means we're a few generations away from extinction. One of the reasons you get on that list is because there's no new literature being produced, no new books in the language. So I have Hagop, we have Mirna Duzjan, professor from Berkeley, all in Armenian studies, Talar Shahinian, professor from UC Irvine, my brother Ishkanji Bashan, my sister who's a Armenian and Armenian history teacher and Bible teacher at St. Gregory's School for the past 25 years, and Norar Dadurian, who's a principal of the Armenian Academy in Pasadena. So we started having meetings, monthly meetings. What are we going to do? What fonts are we going to use? Where are we going to find authors? That was our big thing. Where are we going to find the authors? Where are we going to find the money? So meanwhile, I talk a lot. Not that here I'm showing that or anything, but I do talk a lot. So I have a client who lives in Texas. She's Hayastansi, so Arevelahai, right? This is not a Medahai publishing house. Her husband is Black American. And they check in on me every once in a while to see what I'm working on. Her name is Sonia, his name is Brandon. Sonia calls me. Hey, John, what are you doing? I said, oh, well, you don't have to ask me twice. I'm starting a publishing house. And I go through the A to Z. We're on the endangered list. Meanwhile, they have 3 beautiful kids that are Black Armenian. Their names are Ashken, Yeraz, and Ishkan. Okay? They speak Armenian. They go to Armenian Saturday school, they go to Sunday school, the whole bit. So as I'm telling them my spiel, I'm on speakerphone in the car, Brandon's sitting in the back, and he says, hey Arpi, I'm going to pay for your first book. And I said, how much are you going to give me, Brandon? I'm joking. And he said, I'm going to give you $10,000. I said, give me $15,000 and I'll draw Ishkan. And he says, you got it, what's your sell? Send me 15 grand. So we took that money, we said we needed a film, we paid for different things we needed to pay for, and this was us recording our film, and it's on Instagram if you go, also on our website, rppublishing.com. We had a fundraising event, and so far, we got a great crowd in, and so far we've raised $90,000, and I am very happy to announce in 2024, we will have 7 new books for young adults from 8 to 18 years old, written in Western Armenian fiction. It's never happened before. The authors came from Istanbul, Venice, Michigan, Palm Springs, and LA. Oh, and Virginia. Okay. Now, the first book, this is fun. The first book that's going to be released, and it should be out in May, is called Mepen Yevvishaba. So it's The Queen and the Dragon. And it's a fantasy series in Western Armenian. And I'm going to read you the description. It is the series of projected 5 fantasy books that weaves together the history of ancient and medieval Armenian kingdoms to create a mythical world in which young Mel and Ruben go to rescue a kidnapped princess while traversing haunted forests, befriending dragons, and discovering magical objects of power. So it's kind of like a Harry Potter book, but in Armenian. So the fun part of it is that the person who did the cover of the book, he did the illustration, we haven't finished designing the full cover, is the incredible artist Roger Kupelian. Roger was the writer, I didn't mention, the author is Dr. Tamar Boyajan from Michigan. She's one of my best friends now. Because of RP Publishing, we became best friends. And so Roger Kupelian, who drew the cover, was her art teacher at Ferahian. And the person, the editor who's editing the book, Ara Kazanjan, was her Armenian teacher who inspired her to write in Armenian. So it's coming full circle. You guys want to see the cover? Sneak peek. Nobody's seen it before. Okay. There's a picture of Tamar on there. It's not part of the cover. I just put it so you see her. There it is. The right side will be the front. The left side will be the front. The right side will be the back. And obviously it won't have Tamar's picture on there. Okay. Now another fun project. So at the same time that all of this is happening, I kept my friendships up with my colleagues we used to work at Nickelodeon together. Everybody's now doing their own projects. So we were talking about April 24th. And I was telling these 2 friends of mine, their names are Michael Ceballos and Keith Kachorik, how devastating and traumatic it was to learn about April 24th, about the genocide as a child. I think you all remember April rolls around, Dudik starts to play everywhere, black and white horrific pictures, kindergartners, first graders, this is how you're learning about the genocide. So I told them, I want to introduce a gentler way to talk about the genocide, right? And California passed the bill that Armenian genocide has become part of the curriculum. So we said, let's make a cartoon out of it. So we started weekly meetings, production meetings. We did what we can. We're working for free, right, at this point. Started talking to people. Well, USC's Shoah Foundation heard about it. Shoah Foundation is Steven Spielberg, the director's foundation about genocide education. Called me in January, and they want to make our film part of their project, so they're producing it for us, partially funding a big chunk of it. And so the red scarf, I'm getting shaky. The Red Scarf, A Story of Armenian Hope, will be released in June. And it's about, do you guys know about Jackie Coogan and Near East Relief? Oh, you're gonna hear all about it. It's about Jackie Coogan, the child actor who fundraised $1 million in 1922 and delivered to the Armenian orphans. He was a child actor with Charlie Chaplin. Charlie Chaplin raised $10 million for the Armenian orphans. Wow. So this is part of little teasers from our cartoon that will be out, and it will be it will be part of Discovery Education's program, so it'll be in half the schools of the country in the US. It'll be in Canada and Dubai and all over the world, free for everyone to see. So if you know of anyone who wants any organization that wants to get involved, we still have episode 2 and 3 we need to fund, by the way. But this is how seeds get planted, right? Okay. So I want to ask you all, if I say, can you name Armenian women authors? How many can you name? Off the top of your head. 2 or 3? 2 or 3. 10. Great. So Tamar, the one that's doing the book, Tamar Boyajan, and now another friend, Maral Aktokmakyan, who lives in Istanbul, have been working on an anthology of Armenian women authors, Western Armenian women authors. They have found 40. Okay? Maral went to the cemeteries in Istanbul and was reading the tombstones to find out birth dates and death dates, because it's not that we haven't had women in the last 5,000 years, women writers. Nobody thought to document them. So they wrote for their local papers at the time, and then that was the end of it. Some of them don't even have photos of who they were. So I said then, we need to create a calendar that could be a teaser for the book you guys are preparing. We chose 12 authors who write about writing. It's about the craft of writing. And we pulled their quotes and translated. Maral and Tamar did. And Malvine Validyan is one of the authors that didn't have any photos of her. So based on her character and what I read from her writings, I imagined her. I think she's pretty badass. She lived in the 30s. So that was my imagination of what Malvina looks like. And then we have Sibyl and Zabalia Sayan and Sabugi Dusab. Okay. So coming to the end here, in 2015, when I had gone into Swains and I won this art competition, I was the first runner-up of an Armenian genocide art competition that a local city councilman was hosting. And so my parents were beaming. They were so happy. I was on Shant TV, I was in Aspares, I was in all the papers. So I go to visit my parents, and my dad says, and I said, Bab, gishes to brotsvidi avardei inzi sir pajish gam pastapan for askis okut alam. Hima gagardzes askis okut galangor. He said, Che kider. Inch ad varyan ad darikis kideyne ad khrada kezi davi. Urden kitnam parti vra nagar bitnes kabati vra nagar bitnes. Duneru peshvi kordzatvi mashagui hishen. He said, Ganeres achchigas. He was 82 years old. So my takeaway message here for everyone here actually. One thing I want to say is I didn't start my collection business until I was 43 years old. It's never too late, first of all. So the first thing I want to tell you is find your superpower. What your superpower is what comes easy to you, what brings you joy, what makes your cheeks go red, and the thing that you think, why doesn't anybody know this, but I know it? That's your superpower. Practice it daily. Do it with excellence. Number 2, find your tribe. You are my tribe. We are all each other's tribe. That's your supporters. And the only way you will find them is if you share your talent. It's God-given. God gave it to you to share. He gave it to you to beautify the world, whether it's art or cooking or you're an amazing attorney who can talk the heck out of any case. It's God's given gift, and it's your duty and responsibility to share it with the world. And number 3, the canvas is yours. Grab the paintbrush and make your mark. Just start. That's it. Thank you. That's what I do.
Շատ շնորհակալ ենք ընկերուհիներին, որ ընդառաջեցիք մեր հրավերին եւ ձեր կյանքի եւ արվեստի փորձառություններով ու պատմության փոխանցեցիք մեզ, որ հաստատ քաչալերանք եւ օրինակ դիտելան շատ նոր դահաններում։
Aki, we would like to thank you for being here with us today, all the way from California, and sharing your experiences. It was wonderful to hear your life story through your vibrant arts and illustrations, capturing the Armenian culture and heritage.
Պեմքը հրավիրեն Հոմի Թորոնտոյի Ռուբինա մասնաճյուղի վարչության փոխ ադենաբեդ ընկերուհի Սիլվի Օհանյան բանախոսին հրամցնելու մասնաճյուղի հուշանվերը, որ պատրաստված է արվեստագետ Մայքլ Արամի կողմէ Հոմի խորհրդանշանը գրող արվեստի գործը։
And now dancing the Paso Doble, Michael Lubenzi and Sandra Ruchinski. The next segment of our program is the presentation of the Armenian needlework. We would like to invite Engerui Dr. Ani Hasadjan to present the Armenian needlework from various cities of historic Gilgit. She will be joined by needlework presenters Patil Simonian, Areni Panosyan, Ani Hareshtagian, and Teni Mushian.
The serious study of Armenian textiles is still in its infancy. There are not very many catalogs or even complete inventory of the rich Armenian collections in Yerevan or other Armenian centers of the diaspora. Therefore, today's presentation of Armenian needle lace and embroidery is not based on extensive research. It is only an attempt of showcasing samples from some of history's oldest and finest needlework, hoping for preservation and transmission of this art, and also giving us here a glimpse or a taste of a unique and beautiful collection. Հայկական ասեղնագործությունը հայ ժողովրդի ստեղծագործական դաղանթին արվեստներու գնահատման եւ ճանաչման փաստերեն մեկն է, որ համատարած ձևով զարգացած էր հայկական բոլոր խավարներեն ներս, յուրահատուկ ոճերով եւ օվանտագությամբ։ Հոմի Հայաստանի, Սուրյո եւ Լիբանանի միավորներուն ձեր արվեստներու հանձնախումբերը այս առաքելությունները գաբրեցնեն եւ զանոնք նորահաս թերուններուն կփոխանցեն ցուցահանդեսներու եւ դասընթացներու ջանքով։ Այսօր ցեզ դիտամցնենք մեր մոտ ունեցած քունչը, մեր այս հարուստ եւ բազմազան ասեղնագործությունները։ Ասեղնագործություն կամ ժանյակագործություն հայկական գրարական արվեստի հնագույն եւ դժվարագույն գործերն են, որոնց հիմքը ասեղնութերն են միանում։ Ասեղնագործ ժանյակը համկույցներու համադրություն է, որոնք ունին զանազան անվանումներ, ինչպես արշալույս, շուրջբար, Արարատ լեր, հավերժության խորհրդանշան եւ այլն։ Needle lace. Needle lace is one of the oldest and most intricate applied Armenian needleworks. The essential materials are simply a needle and thread. Cotton or silk threads are woven and sewn in a series of knots whose varieties are called by many names, including, for example, petag, honeycomb, nashik, little almond, gamurch, bridge, etc. Marashi ասեղնագործություն։ Marash ասեղնագործությունը զուտ հայկական գար է, որ դժբախտաբար օդարներու մոտ սխալ կերպով ջանցված է նաև որպես մալթեզի։ Խաչագիրներու օրով Հայաստանեն քաղաքը ապրած է Մալթա, որ ունեցած են եկեղեցիներ եւ բանկեր։ Այդ պատճառով է, որ Մարաշի գործը փոխադրված է Մալթա։ Իսկ հնդկական ծագումը կվերագրվի Հնդկաստանի մեջ հայ միսիոնարներու կորության։ Կպատմվի, թե հնդկական արքունիքի թագավորներեն Մարիամ Զամանի Բեգում հայուհին եղած է եւ ունեցած է նաեւ հայ բժշկուհիմը։ Գիրիկյացի հայեր եղած են, այս ծերագործը որպես արհեստ սորվեցուցած են աղքատ հնդիկներում։ Այս տեղեկությունները արնված են Լիբանանի օգնության խաչի հայկական ասեղնագործություն գիրքեն, իսկ նկարները հավաքածու են Հայաստանի հոմ արվեստ վաճառատունեն եւ զովակ հայկական եւ եվրոպական գարատեսակներու աշխարհեն։
Մեր անուշիկ օրիորդները դակամին կշարունակեն ձեզ ցուցադրել այս գեղեցիկ շատ բացառիկ ծերակոծները, որոնք եթե երևակայեք որքան ժամանակ արած է յուրաքանչյուրը, վստահ եմ շատ զարմանալ, հավանաբար օրեր, ամիսներ։ Այժմ հատուկ շնորհակալություն եւ փորին երախտագիտական զգացումներս կփապակի հայտնել հայ օգնության միության ուրինամասնաճյուղի վարչության, ինչպես նաեւ thanks to the organizing committee members of the International Women's Day event